The Rusty Humphries Show. For Atlanta, from Atlanta.
I'm going to do my best to try not to go into what I like to call geek mode. Geek mode is where I get excited. It's like I go into that thing like Chris Farley used to do. Yeah, Paul McCartney, remember that time you did that song called Hey Jude? That was great. So I'm going to try not to do that. Let me give you just a little bit of background, and I'll introduce the guest. When I came back to Atlanta, the first place I went was this guy's running store. Didn't go to any place. It didn't even come to the set. I went to his running store first. He is, in my opinion, the greatest running coach maybe in history, one of the great runners in history. He is from Atlanta, Atlanta's own Jeff Galloway. Jeff, welcome to the Rusty Humphries Show, sir.
Rusty, it's great to be here.
It is. It's such a thrill. We buy 60,000 people yesterday at the Peachtree Road Race, and I bump into Jeff Galloway at the finish line.
At the finish line. Well, it was meant to be.
Now, you must have started an hour after I got started, because we ended about the same time. What corral were you in?
Well, what happened was I entered like everybody else did, according to the lottery, and I was assigned the X position, all the way in the back. But the Atlanta Track Club asked me to present at the award ceremony, and I happened to see the race director, and I said, I'm sorry, but I can't do it because
I'm in the X. I'm in the back.
I can't make it in time. So she got me a number that allowed me to come up front, which was wonderful because then I could run with my wife. We had actually been put into separate groups. Mm-hmm. Anyway, we ran together. We started in the F, as in Frank, shorter position.
Okay, F. I started in D. We ended at the same time. So
that's
you started
okay.
like 30, 40 minutes after me.
Oh, that's okay. We had a ball, and we braved the heat. We braved the hills. We made it. And it empowered us.
Now, you're the inventor of the run, walk, run method.
Yes.
And that's the thing that a lot of people talk about. They don't know what the hell it is. I guess I get to run and then I walk sometimes. But you've got a whole formula, and you've got some great books with that, right?
Yes. This started in 1973 in a beginning running course. None of the people ran, so I knew we were going to have to put some walk breaks in there. Mm-hmm. And to my surprise, not only did people have fun and bond together, but there were no injuries. I had never been with a group of 20-plus runners for 10 weeks, and there were no injuries. And I realized the run, walk, run was the way to go. As the years have gone by, we've had more than 300,000 people get off the couch, use run, walk, run. A lot of them have gone on to qualify for Boston, but most of them have gone on to run regularly and just feel those endorphins every day. Changes the way you look at yourself.
Well, I remember the first time we met, it was at the Disneyland Half Marathon, and we talked for a few minutes, and I kind of told you my running style. I said, you need to try 4-1s, which is running for 4 minutes, walking for a minute. And I remember saying, you're out of your mind. It'll take forever. I'll never get done. And as I recall, you said, no, by walking, you lose only 16 seconds a minute, right?
That's right.
And that you'll feel so much stronger, you'll do great. And I went, Jeff Galloway says something, I'm going to listen to the master. I cut 22 minutes off, the same race from the one before. It's like, okay, so he knows what he's doing. So I've been following your stuff for a long time. I just went and I looked at your bio. And somebody called a little while ago about people that, win these races. Why is it the Kenyans win all the time? There's something in DNA that God puts into us. I'm never going to win a race, but I'm looking at your bio, dude. You won the Honolulu Marathon in 2 hours and 23 minutes and 2 seconds?
Yes, years ago, of course.
Man, that's smoking. You were on the U.S. Olympic team. You ran with some of the great runners of all time, Shorter and Prefontaine. What was your best race?
The best race that I ever ran was actually in the U.S. Championships in 1973.
How old were you?
I was 28 years old, and unexpectedly I qualified for the U.S. national team the year after I made the Olympic team, running faster than I ever have in my life, 27:21 for 6 miles. What is that a mile? Gosh, it's about 4:30 per mile.
4:30 a mile? I can't drive that.
But, those were unbelievably neat years. The irony is that none of us had a prayer of making a living out of running. And Frank Shorter, Bill Rogers, a lot of my friends have gone on to do just that. We were in a small group of people that had a vision about wanting to help other people get into this wonderful activity.
I mean, it was a completely different world back then. They didn't have these big marathons, right?
No, there were only a few marathons in the U.S. I won the first Atlanta Marathon in 1963, and I believe that there were 4 other marathons in the U.S. at that time. 4.
And you won, how fast, do you remember that time?
Yes, it was 2 hours and 56 minutes. And I nearly died. I hadn't trained well. That's where I really learned that training does pay off in a marathon.
Actually, when I think about that, though, I'm going 2 hours, 56 minutes. I could still never do that. But today, I mean, no offense, but that's not a great time, is it?
No, it's not. No, it didn't. Of course, I went on to improve that down to 2:16. But it was the mistakes I made in the first one that caused me to keep looking for a better way to do it.
Like, what did you do wrong? What was, and I'm sure because people learn from other people's mistakes, hopefully. What did you do wrong in that one?
Well, I was 18 years old. I thought I was invincible and I could pull off anything with a little training. I had only run 15 miles, and, of course, the marathon's 26.2. And, boy, did I pay for it after 15 miles.
Really? What happened?
I hit the wall, and I was progressively getting more and more tired and really debilitated, so that I was taking walk breaks, but not the way they're supposed to be done. I would be so exhausted that I would have to walk before I passed out. And I barely made it before passing out, before crossing the 26.2.
Man, although, and when you talk about the walk breaks, what folks don't understand is there's a formula. You want to run a mile, and you want to read one of Jeff Galloway's books to teach you how to do that. Go get one. It's jeffgalloway.com, right?
Yes.
Or if you're in the Atlanta area, you can go to Fidippides.
That's right.
Which is a fantastic running store. It's really the first place I came when I came back to Atlanta was Fidippides. I got to go. It's like a mecca for me, going to Fidippides.
Well, what's great about it is most people think that to run, they have to go out and run continuously until they pass out.
Right.
And the point is, if you put a walk break in every 20 seconds or 30 seconds, beginners can enjoy the experience. You enjoy the endorphins. These are the most powerful positive attitude hormones that the body produces, and they're produced by running.
Now, to get those hormones, do you have to go fast?
No. Slow running produces them as well as fast running does. The dirty little secret is if you run continuously, the endorphins are used to kill the pain of running. But if you put a walk break in regularly, during the walk break, the endorphins lock into the receptor sites on our cells and make us feel really good.
Jeff Galloway is his name. We're going to take we got a couple more minutes for our man Mary. I'm going to have him the whole half hour here because it's just such a treat for me to have a running legend here like Jeff Galloway. You were with the all-time greats. I mean, not just you, but it was you and Frank Shorter and Prefontaine and these guys. It's stories of legends. Did you guys know that you were going to be legends someday?
Oh no. We were just a group of guys that were trying to do battle and get as good as we could. We had no illusions that we would be the forefront of this running boom. If somebody told any of us that there would be these millions of runners now, 50 million people in the U.S. run.
Wow.
We would have said, what are you taking? What type of recreational substance?
Because back in those days, they were doing that.
At the early 70s.
Not you guys.
Not us.
No, you guys were working.
Well, we were really into our training, and most of us were running about 20 miles a day. And we'd live, eat, and do a little working in between. And
I mean, you'd probably have to be living in a trailer or something, right? You weren't making any money.
That's what Pre did. I actually had some very literally low rent places to live at that time because you really don't have a lot of resources and you really want to spend your time out there training.
When you talk about Prefontaine, he's on one of the great runners. He passed away in a car accident. And as a matter of fact, my shoes I'm wearing were invented by his coach, right?
Yes,
I mean,
Bill Bowerman.
I got his name. It's in my shoe right now, but the Bowerman series right here.
Bill was also my Olympic coach.
He was.
He had been a friend for several years before that through a very good friend of mine who was the number 3 employee at Nike, a fellow named Jeff Hollister. Wonderful fella.
Probably doesn't have any money in the bank at all by now.
Not much.
Yeah.
No, actually, Jeff has done fine.
I bet they have. Yeah, good for them.
But the
I mean, was he when Bowerman was your coach? Was he saying, "Hey, try these shoes on"?
Well, he did that with his University of Oregon athletes.
Mm-hmm.
They were the guinea pigs, and they had all types of stories about the things that he forced them to use from time to time.
He would make them with a waffle iron.
He sure did,
Yeah.
duct tape and the whole bit.
And those shoes, by the way, are now called Nikes.
That's right.
Yeah.
It was originally Blue Ribbon Sports was the name of the company,
Mm-hmm.
but has now become Nike, of course, and the story goes on. But, Bill, the story of Prefontaine is very well told in a movie called Prefontaine.
Mm-hmm.
It actually has a Jeff Galloway character in it.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Now, is that the one? I saw one of them with, Arlie Army. Is that the one?
That's the one.
Okay, that was a great one.
Ermey really got Bowerman character. Oh, I get chill bumps whenever I see that movie because Ermey really inhabited Bill Bowerman and just the affectations, his mannerisms, and his demeanor. Really fantastic job.
All right, I got to take a break. When I come back, is it, okay, we're in July 5th right now. Is it too late to start to train for a marathon by the end of this year?
No.
All right. How do you do that? We'll talk about that next.
Good.
With one of the great running coaches of all time, one of the great runners of all time, Jeff Galloway, live in studio here on the Rusty Humphries Show.